AITA for telling my husband I expect him to do 100% of the housework when our daughter is in daycare full-time and I work full-time. Since we got married in February 2020 he has not worked due to work permit issues. He got a permit and job in November and was let go after 2 months. Now the laundry piles up and I have to ask him to do the vacuuming, etc. He says the housework should not be his responsibility because he would rather work in the garden. But in my opinion the housework is more important and I did rather not have to do it after work or on weekends when I want us to hang out and have fun. He would rather work in the garden. LOL, that's great, but I am sure you would rather not work full-time and then have to come home and complete a ton of house chores. He needs to pick up the slack here. He's sitting at home doing nothing while you're working foot. There's no excuse for him not doing chores here. And thanks for this. I am hoping all these comments will bring us some perspective. Sometimes I feel like I am being gaslighted by him. I do not want to vilify him though. He does cook for us and clean the kitchen and laundry and vacuuming once in a while, just not 100%. I am a 39-year-old dude who would gladly do all the housework if I didn't have a job. And your expectations are justified. If he is not working, he should be contributing in other ways. And nobody wants to do laundry but it needs to get done. And 100% of the housework might be a little extreme. There are surely times when it is appropriate for you to empty the dishwasher or vacuum or whatever, but if you are working and he is not, then an equal division of labor will naturally involve him doing the vast majority of household tasks. This should not be my job because I do not want to do it is a childish way of looking at things. Your husband needs to understand that division of labor comes not just from what each person wants to do, but from taking the list of things that need to be done and dividing it up in a way that works for both people. If he enjoys gardening, then great, that should be his responsibility. But if neither of you enjoys doing laundry, that does not mean the laundry just goes undone. You should not be in the position of managing him to begin with. But since you are, sit down with him and make a list of all the regular tasks that are part of your lives, your work included, and roughly how long they take each week. Then split it up in a way that is roughly even. It will involve some compromise from each of you. He definitely will have to do a lot more housework than he wants to. And you may need to concede to doing 1 or 2 tasks that he particularly hates, but hopefully you can come up with something that works better for both of you and leaves you feeling less overwhelmed. This is so great. Thank you. Completely agree. I should be doing a share of it as well, dishwasher etc. And I am so much more compelled to do more when I feel he is doing his share too. This is a great strategy, as I do not want to be the nag and he does not want to be nagged. I am gonna do this as soon as we'll have calmed down from our morning fight. Nagging is a term that is almost exclusively applied when women have to repeatedly ask their male partners to do something they should not even have had to mention in the first place. It's a derogatory term used to deflect attention from the real problem. You are not the nag. Your husband is not pulling his weight and is forcing you to bear extra mental load because of his own laziness and immaturity. I genuinely nagged and pestered my dad as a small child until he specifically defined nagging for me. Let me tell you, I never let him forget that he defined nagging as asking more than twice for something, especially if you are whining about it. Anytime he had tell me to quit nagging him, I did look at him with my sad little kid eyes and remind him that I only asked once. It took a while, but he stopped using the term very much. It is gendered and it does usually pop up when a female asks a male to do something he does not want to do, even if the person does not ask more than once in a conversation. And LOL, what the heck? You work full-time and ask him to do some housework since you're not at home all day. One sis, you're not his mother and it's ridiculous you have to ask an adult to keep the house clean. You both live there and clearly he has the time and is able to work inside the house since he is currently unemployed. 2. He wants to work in the garden. Cool. But landscaping is secondary to keeping your house clean. Also, he is at home more, so who is making most of the mess inside? Sorry my points were a bit random, but I got triggered reading this because I have so many female friends who are also career women and we would not tolerate a man who refuses to do housework for no logical reason. Sorry it has your preference, sir, but if roles were reversed he'd expect you to clean the house, right? Didn't he know being a man meant You never have to clean the house lol. If he lived alone, he'd have to. So I think the ego has to go. Also, I want he clean because I'd rather work in the garden. Imagine telling him I'd rather come home to a clean house than work for our livelihoods and then be expected to do all the house chores afterwards. I get it if he wants to treat the garden as his day job, but doing no household chores at all. Gardening is a hobby and not paying the bills, sir. So let us try to have more teamwork and less selfishness. Edit. Oh my god, your daughter is in daycare full-time too, so he's home all day and still wants the daughter in daycare. I can assume you repaying for that too. How about take care of all the household chores or take care of the daughter so you have less financial pressure? LOL. Oh my god, I am too triggered to hop onto this. Save money. Have him step up to parent and use the money for daycare to hire a maid if he is that adverse to cleaning. Info. How is the child care divided when your daughter isn't at daycare? Who drops her off and picks her up? Who manages her bedtime routine? Who does the bulk of the cooking in the house? We divide childcare 50-50 when she is not at daycare. He drops her off and picks her up. Daycare is 5 minutes away and makes her breakfast and packs her lunch. He usually takes care of dinner too. I am going with ESH. He should definitely be doing the bulk of it since he's not working, but in my experience, nobody should be 100% responsible in a shared living home. You make mess. It's also on you to clean up. It's adulting. In my experience, this can become a major issue when the both of you go back to full-time work, because the expectation of one partner doing the bulk remains. I'd suggest a better division of the chores would be 80-20. That means you're not expecting him to be in servitude, and you're fully on top of your role and making the shared mess and contributing to cleaning your home, as you should since you live there. Info. What do you mean by 100%? Also, does not it make more sense to pull your kid from daycare and have your husband watch her, than use some of the savings to pay a maid? It seems like your husband could then bond more with the daughter while taking care of the garden outside. Outside activity is good for kids. Yeah, good call, but we lose the spot in daycare if we pull her, and he will hopefully be getting a job soon. 100% I guess means all the big cleaning chores and laundry, changing the bed sheets, etc. I will gladly do a share of cooking and tidying and cleaning when I see it needs doing. And if he is home all day and not doing childcare during that time, he was more than enough time to take care of all the housework. Working in the garden is a hobby, not a contribution to the family's well-being. You had probably rather work in the garden than go to work too. Even with childcare, taking care of the home completely is part of it if he is choosing not to work. I was a single parent with 2 jobs, one full-time or one full-time job in full-time grad school. All childcare and household chores were done. There is no way this OPS partner can excuse slacking out. I would point out that I am an avid gardener. It would never intrude upon my job or my household responsibilities. Luckily married now, so we are a team and I am not alone with it all. I quintupled my garden size over COVID and canned, froze, and preserved so many things. We are now planting this year's plants and still have almost half the garden food from last year. So it can make an impact on family well-being. Both parents should have roughly equal amounts of free time. That means when one parent is at work, the stay-at-home parent does chores and childcare, and when the other parent is home, they split things equally. That translates to the stay-at-home parent doing much more of the housework, but not 100%. If a grown adult home alone with no child has daughter and daycare cannot keep a house of 3 people clean, laundry done, shopping, meals, and cleanup done, and the yard maintained in 40 hours a week, they are simply incompetent. Childcare after work can be split, no problem. I do not disagree there, but he is choosing to avoid working and wants to avoid carrying his weight at home so he can play outside. And he is not bringing in any income. He is not engaged in child rearing. He needs to do his part, which is in this case the housework. He needs to help with both the indoor and outdoor chores, not like anything else is taking up his time currently. That said, 100% is not a fair split. 75–85% maybe that is more reasonable. Work or not, you are responsible for a portion of the household chores as well. I would say that each partner should have roughly the same amount of free time. If he is not working and not doing childcare from 9 a.m. 5 p.m., hard to imagine that would not amount to him doing 100% of the housework. Not saying OP should not clear up her own dishes or anything, but he can probably do 100% of the housework and still have a lot more free time than she does, especially since she will also have childcare duties after work. I am sure this will be an unpopular response, but no stay-at-home spouse should do 100% of the housework. You both live there. 75% or 80% seems much more reasonable. Think of it this way: if you were the stay-at-home spouse, wouldn't you want him to pitch in? While I agree with the sentiment in this thread that hypocrisy is insane, similar threads with a male complaining about a lazy saw partner are full of it's not her job to take care of you, and whatnot. My husband is disabled but he still opted to be a SOD so we would save money on childcare until the start of kindergarten while I work full-time, and even so, he still does the laundry, cares for our 2 cats, washes the dishes so I can come home to cook dinner. I prefer it that way because I am OCD about my kitchen and I love to cook. My little therapy after work, vacuums, and helps with regular home maintenance. That is our game plan. Housework is not just a woman's responsibility, especially if that same woman is the one bringing home the bacon. I help with everything as best I can, even more during weekends. I work. My wife doesn't. I'd never expect her to do 100% of the housework, more than 50%. Yes, 100% number. 100% of the housework is a bit ridiculous. It is your house too, but he needs to take more than you, a lot more. He is being an odd to making a big deal out of not wanting to do something he should be doing. Gonna go against the grain here. You're not wrong. You're just not. Telling him you expect him to do 100% is degrading and condescending. Imagine if the roles were reversed. How would you feel if he said that to you? You say that he does do cooking and housework, just not 100%. To me this sounds like a communication issue, not laziness. He is trying to meet you halfway from what it sounds like. You need to be approaching your marriage like a team if you want to actually get your desired results from your partner. But with this attitude, for sure. Provided that you would be fine with doing 100% of it if he was working and you were not. On principle, I am wondering how you would feel if the situations were reversed, as has been so often the case over time. Since I am the one with higher standards for this stuff and get a sense of accomplishment from tidying and cleaning for my family, we probably would not be in that situation if the roles were reversed. If this was a man saying that his wife has to do 100% of the housework since he is working, people would be going apeshit on him understandably. Husband needs to do more than gardening, but you all need to agree together about a split in all of the housework. He is your husband, not your maid. While he should be doing the majority of the housework, say 60%, he should not be required to do all of it. We tell women on this site all the time who are Sam that they should not be required to do all of the housework just because they are home all day. More than one person lives in the home, more than one person wears the clothes, eats the food, dirties the dishes, etc. So the housework needs to be split, and he can do a 100% of the gardening stuff if that is what he truly enjoys. But he cannot get away with not doing any of the housework because he does not like it, just like you cannot get away with not doing any of the housework because you work outside of the home. Edit misspellings. We tell women on this site all the time who are Sam that they should not be required to do all of the housework just because they are home all day, because they are SAW parents, which doubles the amount of work to be done and time spent at least. Children require constant work, active supervision. They are not just waiting in stasis until the evening while the SAW parent is free to do other things. The child here spends all day in childcare. He is not caring for a child all day as well as having to do chores. He has time to both clean the house and work in the garden. I am a Sam and I do both. Your husband can too. He must think taking care of the house is women's work and or he is lazy. NTA as long as you do not treat him like a maid. By that, I mean yes, he should be doing all the chores. But as long as you are not doing things like leaving your clothes on the floor for him to pick up or making a mess in the kitchen and leaving it because it is his job to clean, then you are being completely reasonable. Honestly, if he was my husband and he did not get himself together quickly, I would tell him that if he wants to garden he can do it at his own house. You have one baby, you do not need another. If your husband doesn't see the importance of doing the housework, then I am afraid you married the wrong guy. You are not the idiot at all. You are asking him to contribute with the most important work in the house in which he gets a job. From your comments I assume that you will not leave him alone in that. You just want him to participate more in that aspect, and it is more than reasonable already that if you have a full-time job it is not fair that when you return you have to wash the dishes, clothes, the floor, etc. You can live for a couple of weeks with a neglected garden, but a house where nothing is cleaned for a week becomes a puzzle where nobody wants to be. Make them do it. NTA he sounds lazy and hoping for an easy life, because let us be honest, the garden does not need done every day. He needs to get his act together pronto. Here is where you get petty to make a point. If I were you, I would start doing only your own laundry and dishes, and even only making your half of the bed until he catches on and pulls his weight. NTA, to preface, I am not a fan of a tit-for-tat accounting of every chore my husband and I do. I do not think that is productive, but I am banking on logic and a team mentality for this first one. Maybe have your husband jot down general time spent on housework, garden work, childcare. I am going to guess that his contribution is 10-15 hours a week. Maybe just awareness will help. If not, I did go full petty. Anytime he asks you to do something, date, party, family event, help him with a garden job, errand, oh, sorry, there is just no time since I have so much housework to do. Alternatively, make it about money. I am going to start paying a housekeeper, so we will have to cut back on your beer, video game cable, insert his favorite hobby. I just cannot get it all done, so we will have to pay someone to do it from now on. NTA, borderline NTA though, if only BCU said 100%. House chores should not be 100% anybody's job, but considering he is the one home full-time, he should be doing the majority of it. Man is at home 24/7 and unemployed and complains about you, currently making all the money, asking him to clean the house. What does he do all day? I am not an expert on gardens, but I am pretty sure they aren't an all-day everyday event. He needs to stop freeloading, start helping with the bills, or get the vacuum. What is his responsibilities then? Seems to me like you're rehandling all of them. NTA, he can garden after the housework is done. If I can figure it out with 4 kids at home, so can he. I believe in him. NTA, as someone who has been looking for a job the past 2-ish months and my spouse works full-time, I do most of the housework. I am not saying he has to do it all day every day, but because he has the time, it's easier for everyone involved. My husband will still take out trash or help fold laundry, but I do most of the cooking and cleaning because I have the time, and it isn't fair to expect you to do it all. I do what I want most days in terms of enjoyment and job hunting. But I will still do some chore at least once a day. Once he gets a job again, then responsibilities can be spilt again. NTA, things should not just not be his responsibility just because he does not want to do something. That's just not how adulthood works. If the roles were reversed and you were the one at home all day, ask yourself, would he expect you to do the things you want him to do? Probably, right. You should not have to be responsible for doing the housework when you are not the one in the house all day. You are doing your part and he should be doing his. NTA, I swear guys are still living in year 1. Things are changing, but goddamn do things need to change faster. I am sure some guys still have that innate feeling of women should do housework, not men. Reality is women are working now, roles change, build a bridge and get over it. Jesus just cleaned the house, it's not that hard, but after a long day at work, oof. I do not agree with 100%, assuming husband is responsible for childcare, getting baby ready, taking her to daycare, pick up etc., but definitely all the daytime chores, basically the dinner, After dinner dishes and 5-minute nighttime pickup should still be shared, but all the laundry, floors, bathrooms etc. only take a couple of hours max each day to stay on top of, and he should be doing it. Absolutely NTA, if there's a stay-at-home spouse, that house should be their job.